Welcome back, ladies and germs. Another stream coming your way. More Linklater. Got a Longlegs review maybe later on. Have some fun thoughts about that one. I think that's about it for this episode, though. Maybe a little bit shorter than the other ones, but yeah. I feel like we had to give Dazed and Confused its due. You know, it's just got to be. It's like a ceremony for me.
This is our second episode with Dazed and Confused.
Did we talk about it earlier?
Yeah, we pulled it out of the movie chest. It was like our second movie chest.
No way. For real?
Yep.
Oh, shit. I remember that.
Revisiting it.
Well, I mean, yeah, right. You forget what we did. I mean, it's one of the most rewatchable movies of all time, though. So, I mean, you know, I can always throw it on.
It's funny because like watching Slacker and then Dazed and Confused, and for some reason I just felt like watching Everybody Wants Some. I think that's what it's called. But it's just basically the evolution of Linklater, like tweaking,
like slice of life,
right? Like day in a life, but then like it's different phases. So like Slacker was obviously like the college and just Houston, or not Houston, Austin was the life that was like the main character. But then he narrowed it down to like high school with Dazed and Confused, and everybody wants some who's college, you know. So it's interesting.
Different decades, different types of people, but what Dazed and Confused has proved to me is that everybody's kind of the same generation after generation, have pretty similar experiences, and that's fine, right? Yeah. Just keep living.
Live, baby. L-I-V-I-N.
Well, let's get into Dazed and Confused then. Yeah. I mean, sweet emotion, baby. I don't know how much I could really like praise this movie without just like going into like really minute details about like why I like it, but I mean, I recently bumped this from 4.5 to 5 on a recent rewatch, and it stayed right at 5. I think this one's a 5er for life, boys, for me.
Oh yeah, never going down.
I don't know. I don't think it can. Honestly, the love has just set in for me, I think.
Interesting.
That looks stellar cast. Yeah, I mean, it shows you all the different like cliques back in, you know, like in high school, like those days. So I think it's like a super relatable movie for just about anyone.
It definitely is. It feels like Linklater just kind of knows people, like normal people, you know? Like you can tell he's like lived a normal life to some fashion rather than just being like example, Malik. That's not a normal dude, right? The way he portrayed like people interacting with each other or couples interacting with each other, it's not like natural or normal.
It's like he's never actually talked to a real person.
Right. Right.
Dude is out of
like when the man says he's gonna walk from Austin or Houston to fucking somewhere in Illinois, you're like, that's the interaction you get. And you're like, yep, this is why he thinks people interact this way. Yes. It's not normal.
Yeah.
But
no, there was
a touch, you know, something soft.
Yeah. There was no playing under blankets and on beds and rooms in this.
Like
there was
no spinning.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, every character feels completely like real. For the most part, I feel like I have to give some qualms. Like, I don't want to just like say it's a perfect movie because like some of the acting is so, but I think over rewatches that has just like melded away. It's just like kind of gone for me. I just kind of like it.
Just your love for the movie in general just kind of overcomes those little nitpicks, you know?
Yeah. Even, I guess, like, who do you think is the weakest performance in the movie? I guess let's just start with that question. Mitch Kramer. I mean, easy go-to, right? Like, he's very awkward. He touches his nose bridge like maybe 40 times in one scene, you know?
First time I watched that movie, that's like, oh, so that's the go-to, like, exaggerated.
Oh, like, man. Jeez. And then you see one where he like wants to do it again, and he's probably like, oh, maybe I shouldn't touch my face again. Yeah, no, that's 100%. I honestly though, like, I kind of like the performance now. It's awkward enough that you're like, maybe that's just a kid, you know? But
so it's just an acquired taste. You just have tasted it enough to where you're like, all right, I can eat this.
Like, that's not bad. Yeah.
I feel that because this time on my watch through too, I was like, you know, he's not as. I don't remember feeling like as annoyed as I did this time. You know?
Yeah. he draws you in a little more. I thought the weakest performance nowadays for me is Anthony Rapp. He plays I forget his name. He's like the blonde-haired nerd dude.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
trio, like the redhead.
the trio. Yeah, part of the trio. Yeah, I don't know. I think like his character's awkward and weird, and that's fine. Like I like the character. I just don't think like I don't know. I didn't really feel like his performance was like it feels too acty to me and too kind of like
Yeah,
on top of it. But I guess if you're just like a self-aware nerd, it's fine. But,
yeah. I mean, I like that group's dynamic. I didn't really.
mhm.
He didn't really stand out to me as like his performance was anything crazy or bad. It was just I don't know. Like
Just is.
the other dude and the chick stood out more to me. So,
Hmm.
but their conversations I love because they're like the group who's constantly at fault with
Conscientious.
yeah,
Yeah.
like what they're doing or what other people are doing, and um, yeah, he's just like I just want a visceral like life human experience, man, and
Yeah. And he
ends up
gets
getting
it.
in a fight. And
Yeah.
yeah, classic line from the duty fights.
Right. So
Can
many
we
great
ask for
lines.
beer? We're almost out of beer. Yeah,
Almost out of beer.
I've like heard
Mm-mm-mm.
that phrase reworded, with different things so much
Right.
throughout my life. But,
Yeah.
the imprint this movie's left is clear on pop culture. I would say it's
100%. I think like this movie is named Dazed and Confused because it's a song. But like now when you think Dazed and Confused, you think this movie. Like
Oh, 100%.
so, the soundtrack to this movie is fantastic.
it's
Just
phenomenal. Yeah.
banger after banger.
Yeah. Just keeps going.
Yeah.
And they're all like perfectly like chosen by Linklater, it feels like, for like the right feel for each time like a song comes in.
Yeah.
It's so
Curated.
good.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
It all goes back. He's just such an seems. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of his movies, but like he seems like such just an accessible director, writer, director. Like I don't know. It's like he gets people, gets what people
Relatable.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's some stinkers in there. Like there was one I remember watching when I was a lot younger that I don't remember loving, which was I think it was Bad News Bears, the remake. I had no idea he did that one.
Yeah, I remember watching that too, and then seeing later that it was Linklater, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think there's one more like that, like later. Let me see if I can double check. But I just going through his stuff. I'm like, wow, I did not
Yeah.
realize that was his movie. Oh, Where'd You Go, Bernadette? Didn't
Oh,
know
I
that was
haven't I
his.
haven't seen that one.
Or Last Flag Flying. Didn't
I,
know that was
I'm
Linklater.
kind of curious about that. I think that one might be good, but I don't know.
Is that the Steve Carell, like the
Yeah,
Hmm.
Bryan Cranston, Lawrence Fishburne. Like,
Yeah,
there's a couple of
good
his
cast.
movies where I'm like, wow, this guy just might be
He's
like
got
super. He's everywhere.
he's got enough
yeah,
range while still
Yeah,
bringing it back to like the relatable human characters and stuff. So,
it's
yeah,
kind of wild the range he has on like the different types of movie that he does.
hmm
Cool.
yeah,
Like coming out with
wonder.
Hitman this year was just such a different movie than like all these other ones that I just listed.
Right.
right.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's got me thinking because after watching Slackers and this one, like how he writes characters, like his dialogue specifically, I think he's just really good at like writing specific dialogue for like a specific character type. At
He
least it
can
out more in Dazed and Confused for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's like 30
Like he's making all
characters,
these
dude,
different
and they
dudes.
all feel
Yeah,
like completely real. It's just
Yeah.
yeah.
that's impressive. Yeah.
Some stuff like Slater stands out. Matthew McConaughey's character stands out. Like the jocks, the nerds.
Right.
Like it's like
Low key, I think the highlight or like the person who really carries the movie, obviously it's Pink because you're with Pink, but like
Definitely.
Sasha Jensen, Don, he's like the beefy kind of like buddy who's like got a lot of energy and kind of a dick, but he's like kind of a fun asshole. Like,
Yeah.
dude,
Don's a
he's such a
bad
highlight
asshole.
for me. I don't
Yeah.
know. And it's like a lot of these actors, you don't even like, you've never seen them in anything else, which kind of provides like an authenticity to the movie. And then you have like Ben Affleck and Matthew McConaughey, and they're like really
Oh,
early
that's weird.
roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You can pick out a couple people, but for the most part, it really does just feel like this people in this town.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. I loved like the closing scene where you get like Matthew's line of living, but that character is like, man, I just want to say that I could like look back and say that I did the best that I could while I was stuck here and like doing all that. Yeah.
I dogged the most girls as I could. I was stuck here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That whole end scene with them on the football field is just great. Honestly,
Yeah,
like,
the coach and stuff at the end.
I was thinking about like the counter to this like discussion, because we all clearly like this movie a lot, but I think there's like a sector of people that are like, it's not even a real movie. It's not fucking, like, it doesn't follow like structure, doesn't do all this shit, and like,
where's the plot? Where's the
right,
beats? I
yeah,
mean, there's definitely like I feel like it's within like it's like the super bads, it's obviously you have Slacker, you have this movie Dazed and Confused, you have Everybody Wants Some. Now that I watched that one, but like there's just a hangout type of movie. That one we watched too, Ridgemont High. I
Yeah,
mean,
okay.
it's
I was
just
trying
like
to think of that. Yeah.
it's like a coming of age
yeah,
type of movie, but without like the plot beats. Like then you have the coming of age movies like Snack Shack that came out this year. That obviously that has more of a linear story, but
mm-hmm.
it kind of falls in line. But I can see how
Yeah,
that can be more appealing to people, just like I guess the normies out there who just want like, oh, I need it to hit this beat where the protagonist, needs the girl, but then there's a fallout,
Yeah.
but then they come back together as friends, that kind of
Yeah.
shit.
yeah,
Rather than just a hangout movie like these movies are, where it's just a
right,
bunch of fucking people talking out their ass, but you're like, I relate to that because I talk out of my ass all the time,
Right.
100%.
Plus, I mean, I would argue like, I mean, there is somewhat like a storyline in the characters, at least Pink's motivation.
Pink has a major arc with like the signing of
Right.
the paper. Like it's like threaded very nicely through the story,
So it's enough
Yeah.
to keep you engaged in like his story, but then you have like all the other kind of like fun stories going around
Yeah.
it. So,
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think he kind of like hits that mark. I keep bringing up Everybody Wants Somebody because I just watched it, but like he hits that mark of like hitting those beats that people want, but also leaning more into the hangout in that movie because like you have the one character and he has those beats that are just more of what people want in this type of movie
Mhm.
in that movie rather than in this one. Like you said, you have
Yeah.
Pink's like beats that he hits,
yeah.
but it's more just kind of in the background and it's less like what people want. Like, oh, he's going to sign these papers. It's not a relationship. It's not,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that type of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense. I can see that. I gotta watch that though. I've never seen. That's a Linklater as well.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming.
But it's like 2016.
It's kind of like
so
the
it's a little above
spiritual successor to this movie, it seems like.
Gotcha. Just a little
Yeah.
bit.
Honestly, he
Mhm.
could have played it off to where it's like the kid is the baseball player type situation, I don't know. That's when I watched it, I was like, oh, this is just like a direct follow up to that, just college.
Yeah.
But,
In like the 90s or whatever, the 80s.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds fun. I mean, if it's close to this one, yeah.
I'm gonna say too that like the haters of this movie are the people that just don't have never like been able to connect with the experience that you watch in this movie, like going out with your buddies and getting drunk and like having the feeling of like your night wide open and also your life wide open, like
that is a crazy like visceral experience that I had watching this. I was like, holy shit, like sneaking out to like drink with friends and that like that feeling of freedom. Like you're like, oh, we got nothing to do tonight but party and have
just
fun.
bouncing from party to party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's harder to be accessible for people past our generation. Like I think we're at the end of that, like being able to just drive around the country roads
Yeah.
and like have a good time. Like nowadays kids are like, why not just stay home and watch TikTok or whatever the fuck they do?
They're sending beer emojis to each other and getting the same fulfillment nowadays, right?
It's just it's just weird. I mean, we sound like old fuckers saying that, but like it's just so much different now seeing what kids do compared to
maybe we are at the
what we
tail
did.
end of it. I would hope that like most generations could identify with this, but you might be right that like it's not fully universal because like even the 70s the like hazing and shit like that I never really experienced that shit, so like it's different. But like the nightlife, I mean, more so than like I would say almost any other movie too, this movie like captures a true feeling and like gives it back to the audience Like
Yeah.
I can always access this feeling, and like it's a very unique movie to make that feeling like present when you watch it. It's kind of crazy how successful it is.
It definitely pulls it out of you. Yeah, it's awesome. But no, I think you're right, and I don't know, because I'm like thinking about young kids that me and Matt know, probably like our niece and nephew, and I'm like, I don't even know if they have like the I don't like they're bold enough, or if they're just like I don't know. I feel like the generations coming are like so fearful that they like wouldn't even attempt. Maybe you know what I mean?
I
Like,
don't know. I feel like everybody has that high school experience where they got to go out and like start drinking and stuff.
It's definitely like the rebellious streak, like kids for sure.
Well, I think,
I would hope.
like for me personally, like I didn't have internet till I went to college, so like I had to have fun elsewhere. I couldn't just sit at home and browse the web. If I was home, I was playing single player games on my Xbox or outside. So like
That's what I
it's
mean, though.
just
It's like
different.
they choose comfortability over like the possibility of.
That's true. Like like the unknown of the night, which is like
right. That's good. I think that's what I mean by fear. Is like why go out and like be worried about what might happen?
Yeah, that's true.
Like stay here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're comfortable with.
Yeah. Whereas I'm like, let's go out and see what happens because.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Stitch? We got Stitch watching, boys.
Is that you, Logan? You son of a bitch? I might be talking to somebody else, but that might be Logan, my friend.
What's up, Logan? If that's you, thanks for watching.
You.
Yeah, I thought too, the as far as like what makes this movie really successful in like structure, like the dual storylines of the older kids having like the last hurrah of like the senior year, mixed like coupled with like the junior high kids getting their first taste of like high school. It's just like a perfect like access to both of like those stories or both those kind of feelings,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Must be Logan.
Yeah, it is.
He says, "Good shit, guys. Keep it up. Appreciate it, man."
Thank you, Logan. You're so sweet.
Such a sweet man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Matthew McConaughey. What is there to say about his performance? Just like a shining beacon of entertainment in this movie. I mean, like,
was this his breakthrough role?
I think so.
Was this what kicked off his career?
I think he did like maybe a commercial or something before this, and then he just like knew Linklater and hopped in and just fucking did it.
Another Texas boy.
Yep.
South, dirty South.
Just fucking phenomenal in the movie. All right. We'll live forever.
Honestly.
Yeah. It will.
A lot of great. I like so many great lines though. Like, one line that makes me laugh every time. What's her name? Starts with a P. She's like the crazy, like bitch, like leader or whatever.
Oh, what is her name?
I forget her name right now.
At the end, at the party where he's like trying to
air raid.
Yeah.
She's great in the movie because she plays it to like the 10th degree. But wipe that face off your head, bitch. What the hell is that?
That's crazy. Yeah.
And then I mean Slater also he's probably carries the movie in so many ways, just like his personality and his like journey of just like trying to get shotgun or whatever the fuck. But just his speech about like marijuana and aliens and Martha Washington was a hip lady. Like, I don't know. It's just so genuine and so funny.
The country, man, because they knew it'd be a great cash crop, man.
Martha Washington, she just had a fat bowl waiting for him when he came home. She was a hip lady. Just great, just phenomenal, man. A lot of the lines.
A dollar bill, man. There's some crazy shit happening on a dollar bill,
and it's green too. The lines are written clear, like they seem. A lot of it's improvised, I would say, and then there's like clearly like written lines, but they're thrown away in such a way that they just feel so right and they feel so real. And like even just like the side, even the side people. Like when you're in the early stages of the movie, you have like the teacher who's the bell rings and she's like, just remember, guys, that when you're celebrating 4th of July this year, you're going to be selling a bunch of landowners who didn't want to pay their taxes. Like, it's like, oh, that's a real person. Holy shit. Like, because I don't know. People talk like that and get edgy like that, especially in like the 70s.
Makes you wonder, especially after watching Slacker, how much is actually written? Do you think Linklater, they're sticking strictly to the script? Because I mean, I feel like that's how it was with, like, it felt more so with Slacker, just because they were just kind of, each character had what they were talking about. So I don't know. I wonder if it is like strictly. Maybe Linklater is just that in touch with everything. You think?
Yeah.
I think he has a lot of bones, and then he has a lot of moments of just riffing. But it's hard to tell which is which. I'd say sometimes.
Yeah. If I had to guess, there's like somewhere in the 70 to 80% is like his stuff.
Yeah.
20 to 30% riffs and improvisation.
Like there are great like moments of character that I don't know if he could improvise with, like when they're climbing up the moon tower and Slater's like hit his head on the bar and every bar on the way down. Man, I heard it only like hurts after the first few. Toxicology report said he had 1 beer. How many did you have? 4. Like that can't be just like that. I mean, maybe, but like I feel like it's just too solid and too like structured. But
I don't know. Makes you think maybe Linklater was, how hazy was that writer's room?
Right.
Right in this movie.
He's definitely smoked some weed and drank some beer. We know this much, right?
Can confirm.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just like a love. A love for this era, a love for this movie, and a lot of characters. Yeah, it's great. Great. This is a movie you could recommend to like anybody, I think, too. Maybe anybody our generation or older.
Logan, if you're still watching, or excuse me, Stitch, I don't know if you want me saying your name, because it doesn't really fucking matter, but have you seen this one, Logan? I know you're not as into movies, but let me know if he answers.
Yeah, I got you.
Anyway.
Yeah. I'd say also this movie is paced exquisitely. Like it never, like at 30 minutes in, we've done all the table setting with the characters and the setting and stuff like that, and then the night's kicking off. And you have like this energy of the night building, and like then you get that slow like pitch. Mitch throws that last pitch, and then it's like this high that turns into like this like scariness of what he now has to go face with like the people that are gonna beat his ass, like.
Yeah. I will say hats off to him for doing that, because like you can get lost in the sauce with a movie like this, especially if you don't really have like that generic plot, that 3 act. Yeah. I guess there's something of a 3 act, but like you don't have that generic plot. It could be harder to just like come to a screeching halt, especially if people are just talking. Not a lot of people like that, they like to be stimulated with something else besides just interesting dialogue between characters.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, that's a good point. Like it could have easily fallen back into Slacker.
Oh yeah. I mean, you could see the learning curve there of like, okay, we just can't do like a oneer with someone just rambling about random bullshit for 2 hours,
Right. Gotta spice it up. And they change settings so many times that like it's so fresh. I feel like we're just moving. We're like moving around. Yeah, we're driving around.
Driving,
yeah. Hanging at the pool hall, just sick place to chill.
Throws that fucking bowling ball out the window, like they're grabbing trash cans.
Right.
I don't know. The driver of like his expression just got me in that, because he's just like started laughing, like they're all scared.
They just don't know how to handle it at first, and then they just like crack up. Dude, and then like the dude who like they start breaking the mailboxes or whatever, and then the guy like meets him at the gas station with the gun, like
yeah.
It's just such a wild card moment, and just adds to the fun of the night with like the little bit of danger that they just like get away from,
Yeah, that's good. Feels good to see Ben Affleck's character get a little comeuppance.
Yeah. Guy's dick.
Yeah.
And I think when I bumped this up to 5 stars, it was because when I watched it, the ending just like perfectly landed, and it made so much like more sense to me, I guess, with like he has this kind of like great moment where he like throws it back at the coach. He's like, I'll never sign that. You know, I might play football, but I'll never sign that. And then Don is like, so that's that, huh? And that's like, I just love when you phrase like the wrap up of a movie right before the movie ends for some reason. And it's like, that's that. That's what you showed me. That's it. And then they go off, they drive to go get Aerosmith tickets, just having a great time. And they like hit this like ramp, hit the like peak, crest over, and then you don't see them on the other side. I just feel like that's like just the symbol of this movie with like peak. You're at like a peak in your life and like you're cresting this hill that you don't even know you're on and you don't know it's on the other side and we don't either. And you're going to look back and remember how great like these moments were, but you don't see it yet. But
so it has just enough artsy fartsy for you to just.
It's just smart. Yeah. It's just like a great like moment to end it on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys think Pinkman is going to play next season then, or what's your thoughts on that? Like, is he going to play? Is he going to throw?
Oh, is he playing
for the team? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he would. Yeah. He just.
I think with people with Go ahead.
I was just making the statement of he's not going to like follow every single rule that the school throws at him. Not going to sign that shit.
Yeah.
But I'll still.
It's gotta live, baby.
Gotta live. Can't let his teammates down. You know.
Yeah. I think with him, he like has this girlfriend that you barely see in the movie, you know, because he's like doing his own thing and like cheating or whatever. And then eventually she comes back and he kind of just like settles with her. I feel like that's kind of a message to be like, yeah, he's probably just gonna go settle back in his like comfortable life after this and kind of.
Yeah. It's just the summer, baby.
Right. Yeah. Just feeling the summer. Well, that's a 5-star movie if I've ever seen it. What do you guys think?
Pretty great for Linklater.
I still have it at 4.5. I don't know. I mean, I'm excited to get to Everybody Wants Some just because it's so comparable to this. But after watching that, I don't know. Maybe it's just not necessarily more relatable, but like maybe I just like the characters more and Everybody Wants Some for some reason. I like Glenn Powell's character. I really enjoy in that one, you know.
He's really good in that. Yeah.
And then kind of like the team captain, he kind of like sums up the whole, like what you said, you know, one line sums up the whole movie. So like towards the end, anyway, we'll get there when we get there. But it's just
like same bookmark.
I don't know,
kind of deal.
I don't know if it brought down my appreciation of Dazed and Confused, but maybe it kind of just made me think more about like maybe the evolution is a good thing in that one too. Like maybe he's just still evolving with this whole idea of a hangout movie.
I mean, if I don't know. You're a filmmaker, you gotta be trying some stuff new, homage back what you've done. You know,
yeah,
right.
Trying to find that balance. I'm excited. I've never seen it, and it's like you're saying an evolution. I'm interested. Color me intrigued.
Yeah.
So would you give it, Noah?
Oh yeah, I bumped it up to 5.
It did it. Did it this time?
5.4. Nice. I bumped it up to 5, and I was like, "Damn, I should have just picked this movie for our 4.5."
Right. Yeah.
Like after watching, I was like, "Yeah, this is 5-star material."
It's a 5er. Yeah.
Entertainment book. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Definitely
Speaking
a movie.
Of our 4.5-star movie bump up, rewatching Cabin in the Woods. I get the beginning part, but watching it this time, it didn't really bother me as much. You know, like how it kind of drags in the beginning. I feel like,
nice.
I don't know. I feel like, it's not a complete 5-star for me. It's still 4.5, but like, I don't know. I rewatched it to just feel that, like, let's see what this beginning part.
Yeah.
You know.
That's good, though.
I've seen it a long time, but I remember at least feeling like it was pretty necessary, most of it. Because you're trying to,
that's what I was trying to think. What would I take out?
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything I would take out in that beginning portion.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think I would just speed it up. Like honestly, I just feel like like the scenes take too long, but maybe that's just
kind of expedite it.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah.
Like we said, it's an 1.5-hour movie though, so you kind of have to.
Yeah.
Stretch it.
It just felt like with Chris Hemsworth character, how he like starts to act like a prick, and when I just watched it, but I can't think of the fucking name. the guy's like, he doesn't act like this. He's a sociology major or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck. And it's
Right.
like you get that because he like recommends this book to her at the beginning, in her room. So it just kind of it all kind of works out. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it
I gotta
does.
rewatch
It's
that.
more
It's been so
layered.
long. I should rewatch that. It's
Definitely. All
anyway,
right.
sorry.
Do we want to talk some long legs, Alex?
Yeah,
yeah, let's go.
I would like to know what you got beef with. But first off, that review, that's not sunlight. There was a light on the barn,
Yeah,
on the outside of the
maybe,
barn.
but I don't
Not
know.
maybe, because I turned to my friend that I was watching it with. I was like, "How did they get power out here if there's nobody in the house?"
Those are
But
pretty big beams. I don't want to just nitpick that moment right away, but
okay,
I don't know. I'll get into it more. But did you want to dip out, Noah? If you haven't seen this one?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I just quick question: are you guys caught up on The Boys?
Nah, I've been binging Game of Thrones, so I haven't really watched it.
Fair enough.
on the grind still.
Yeah, just watched the Watchers on the Wall episode, which honestly might be like my favorite episode of that show.
Really,
the one where they're trying to climb.
It's where like the wildlings attack in the wall. It's just it's like one of the best fantasy battles ever. Honestly, so
Battle of the
cool.
Bastards.
It's better than Battle of the Bastards.
Up there.
Fuck no.
I just remember
Battle of the Bastards. Dude, he held the fucking gate. Come on. Come on. And then you got Egret. Like that moment is just it's just so powerful to me. But Battle of the Bastards has better like cinematography / like it's some of the best battles I've ever seen on screen. But I don't know. I feel like the whole of Watchers on the Wall is just more it's like better overall.
I could see. I mean, it's just a bigger scope, so it's just more, I guess, more interesting that way. I just remember watching Battle of the Bastards and being like, I'm suffocating as Jon Snow is suffocating. And like when he's standing there and the army is coming after him, I'm just like, my hero. So.
That shot with him like bursting through the people is magnificent. Love it. Can't wait for it. Yeah. All right. Let's talk some long legs. Good talking, Noah. Yeah. See you next week for Before Sunrise.
Yep.
All right. Sounds good.
Later, dude.
Okay, before we get into long legs, I just want to say, I just watched another Nick Cage movie before we got on here, so I was a little bit late. 8mm, you ever watched it?
No, I haven't.
Man, I feel like Nick Cage could be a good actor, man, if he just tried, because like he's compelling in certain roles. Like you have Pig, solid. Yeah. You have 8mm, solid. National Treasure, kind of shaky, but still fucking entertaining. Yeah, good for movie. Me, I really enjoyed him in Longlegs, but
it really is a flip of a coin with Nick Cage. I'd say you never know what it's gonna land on, but it's gonna be at least like interesting every time. I'd say, but whether it's good or not, that's open to interpretation.
Coin flip.
Yeah, but for Longlegs, as far as Nick Cage goes, if we just start with the performance of Nick Cage, I feel like it wasn't really marketed with him, but that was the cult. You knew it was him. You knew it was like he was the weird killer in it. I thought he was fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
rock and roll, baby. The devil's music.
I guess, but he was making huge swings. He was making huge swings, like as an actor, I guess, but like almost none of it connected with me. Like, I don't know.
Well, that's because like you think of him as, at least this is how I would see it. You think of him as the big bad, but he's not. He's just kind of like the vessel that gets you into what really is happening, and the whole story. I don't even know if I'd consider this a horror movie, to be honest. It's more of like a thriller because it wasn't scary at all.
Definitely and it's trying to be a horror movie though, and that's kind of the problem in my opinion. But
really, see, I get what you're saying. I just didn't see it as a horror movie when I was watching it. I saw it like, especially when it all comes together in the end. It's like what a parent does for their kids and how far they'll go type of story, because it's ultimately, I would say, what it is, instead of making a deal with the devil for something. Like for another Nick Cage movie, Ghost Rider makes a deal with the devil, gets to live and ride a cool motorcycle. Instead, this, spoilers, but this woman makes a deal to save her daughter. So it's just, I don't know. I really like that whole idea of like that making a deal with the devil and doing
But
his
like,
deeds to save her
why?
daughter and keep her alive.
I
But
like
go
I
ahead.
get the
What are
I
your
no, I
gripes?
get the underlying ideas, and I think like there's something there, but just like the way it was like displayed to me, it just made it like a lot of it like ludicrous. Like with that storyline with the mom, like she murdered people for 30 years because like some dude just like spared her daughter. Like I just like don't physically
Well,
understand this, but like
well, I guess the first time she murders, as you saw, she had problems with it. But as it got further and further, she started to kind of believe
cuz
that
she
what she was
crazy.
doing.
She fucking
Yeah.
crazy. I get it.
And that
But
woman sells it, if you ask me. Like her performance is probably the best of the whole. Like the moment you see her, you're kind of like, there's something off about her. And
mhm.
then it really solidifies it when she says, like, yeah, your prayers, they mean nothing. And it's just like,
But this
oh,
is
okay.
what I don't understand is cuz she's like actively telling her daughter she needs to pray. And then like halfway in through the movie, she's like, you been praying? No, I never pray because it doesn't mean anything. She's like, you're right. It's like,
Yeah.
are you? I get you're crazy, but to me, it's like not adding up correctly. It's like, dude, you don't.
Uh,
What
yeah.
are you
No, I get
saying?
that.
Like,
It
I don't
just,
know.
it kind of, that part worked for me just because, like, after she says it, they're laughing about it. But, like, you can tell Lee is just kind of like, wait a minute, why are we laughing about this? Like, something's not right here, you know? But maybe it's because they know they're coming up on the full cycle, you know? So maybe she's kind of cracking. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we're almost at the full cycle. I mean, Nick Cage knows it.
Oh, I mean, we all know it. We were told 50 times in the movie that it's going to happen the 14th, and then it's going to be in five
Yeah,
days, and then 3 days, and then tomorrow, and it's your birthday. And
happy
dude,
birthday.
like, I mean, a lot of the problems I like found myself having because honestly, I thought the movie started pretty strong and like it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse as it went on. That's just kind of how I
Okay.
felt. Because like the opening scene, I mean, it's got a bunch of style. It's got Nick Cage, doing some Nick Cage shit, and then a nice like title sequence. I thought that was pretty cool. And then the opening scene where you get like the first taste of the protagonist, I thought was probably the best scene in the movie, honestly, looking back, with like her intuiting that it's that house for some reason and her
Yeah,
partner getting like just fucking domed out of nowhere. That was extremely
that's the
shocking.
one. That's the one part I like. I like that as a stand-in scene, but it didn't do anything for the character. Like it showed that she had like this connection, but like it
Gift.
doesn't really play out anywhere else in the movie besides when they
Yeah.
find the doll. But anyway, sorry,
Yeah. No,
continue.
I mean it's a good point because like that scene is so good and then like the rest of the movie takes this like left turn of like story with this character that I just don't give a shit about. Like I don't give any shits about the backstory of this to this like protagonist. Like I don't know why we were supposed to like you set up this case basically and that's where I set all my expectations and my goals for the movie. It was like the
Yeah,
case. And like to like it like comes back to her through the case, but like it never really is about that.
yeah.
And I think maybe the marketing team just was like misguided in this attempt to be like, it's Silence of the Lambs, it's the best thriller
I
and
don't get
serial
that.
killer
Yeah,
movie, and that's
I
not
don't
what
get
the
that.
movie. It's like it's Stephen King meets Sounds of the Lambs, and
Oh, absolutely.
that's cool,
Which
but
I
it's more
kind
Stephen
of fuck
King.
with. And that's and so let me just that's what I really think was successful about the movie and why I appreciated it because I was the beginning part I was like this like whole detective procedural part is kind of sloppy and not great. So when we started getting the lore of like what's actually happening, I was like, now we're fixing this movie. This should have started maybe 20 minutes earlier. You know, they find the dummy or the doll 20 minutes earlier and we get
Oh
into the
man,
creepy stuff.
I'm
Like
just on like the opposite wavelength, man. Because
I
like
know
I no, it's cool. I mean, I think it's
no, I get
interesting,
that.
but like the the procedural stuff was what I was on. Even like the kind of the dumbness of like her drawing the triangle with like the dates.
So
I was
yeah,
like, okay,
that
sure,
stuff doesn't yeah.
fine. But like to get the next phase of the case, I was like, that's cool. Let's keep it. Let's keep it cooking. You know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I guess along the lines of like you compared it to Stephen King, which is interesting. I didn't think about that, but like that's what I love about like his books. It's just like I just said like 600 times just there. But like with his books, it leaves so much for your imagination in terms of what could be, and what there is. I don't know.
Yeah, I
And
feel
that's what
like
I
this
kind of
one.
liked about this was
Yeah.
you have the cult aspect of it. You have a guy who obviously got way into hair bands and started worshiping the devil and just kind of sucked this woman into it. But then you have the whole side of her where she's like, this is actually working. My daughter is alive because of this, so I have to keep doing it. And then she just kind of gets sucked into it all by the end, where she just straight up is like, don't, we have to kill her if you want to stay alive, the little girl at the end. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That was effective for me. The whole cult aspect of it was effective.
I see. I just I guess I didn't really see like the grand scope of the cult, and I only really saw like Nick Cage being like a weird dude with this woman, and he obviously like the things that you know by the end of it are that basically everything's pretty much real of what he's saying, even though everything he's saying is like absolute fucking gibberish that you can't even
Yeah.
track, and he's just repeating
Okay.
shit. And it's like, so maybe I should have understood this character a little more, even though I'm like, I can't get through to him, which it's fine. He's fucking crazy and weird. You're not supposed to like him or understand him. That's fine. To me, it's like sloppy. Like the man who made this, like Osgood Perkins. If you know who this person is, he's Anthony Perkins. I think it's Anthony Perkins, the guy who
Psycho.
plays the psycho killer. And on the one hand, I like respect him like taking his like interests and homages and like laying it all out there. But at the same time, it's like never better than anything he's homaging or doing anything on top of with like Silence of the Lambs or anything Stephen King. Honestly, like it never excels past it. And he's just trying to hit like all these like weird history moments with like a mid-act twist of a movie and like a cross-dressing like weird villain, which is like what his dad was known for with Psycho. So it's like trying to check all these different boxes without even like thinking about the full like package of what you're checking. But I don't know.
No, I understand that. I mean, I think what you just said, you should listen to his interview with Sean Fennessy.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
interview, nice.
it's pretty good. I don't think he's a too much of a likable person. I mean, I didn't really like what he was saying because he basically was like, "Fuck all those movies. I'm not homaging shit. I'll look like a jackass if I try to homage those." So I was just kind of like, "Oh, okay." So
So what did
I
you
don't know.
think you were writing? Because to me, it was
Right.
like this man
It,
read every Stephen King book when he was like 20, 30, and now he's like making his
right.
movie. But
Because when he said that, I was just kind of like, I don't know if that's tracking. Maybe it's just bleeding out because it's what he knows and it's just kind of coming out. But like him saying
yeah,
that he would look like a jackass for trying to homage these things, it was just kind of like, but you are in a way. I mean, people are literally comparing it
100%.
to Silence of the Lambs for some reason, which Silence of the Lambs is actually a good procedural detective drama. You know, this one, the
Yeah,
procedural stuff was the weakest part, in my opinion. But yeah,
fair enough.
anyway.
I mean, I think it's
It's a good
mostly.
interview. It gets into his head
I'm
and you get to
listening.
understand where he's coming from, but it
Okay,
doesn't make me like him as a creator very much. I don't know.
it's interesting.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go into like some nitpicky shit with which, like you said already, and I'll probably just
yeah.
change this review because as I was writing, I was like, I'm not this guy. Like, I don't like to like just nitpick stupid shit like this. But like, there's the beam of light that's coming in the barn, and it's coming through two windows, and I thought about the shot because I was like, that's a really cool shot. Like, I like that shot.
It's huge. The barn is
It's
like
very
it
big.
looks
Yeah.
so massive.
But the minute preceding that is just like doom, gloom, storm setting. Literally like a minute of screen time where you're just like watching the outside nature. Maybe there was a light, I missed it, but fuck, that's a spotlight if I've ever seen one then.
Oh,
Shit. Too
it
much.
definitely was like enhanced, but
Yeah,
yeah. I just wrote it off as like, oh, that's the barn light. It's just bright as fuck for some reason up here.
sure. But I just like felt like the filmmaking language wasn't like cared for or like adding up to me. Another moment that somebody would be like, what a fucking douche for saying this, but here we go.
Okay.
You're listening to 3.5 phrases of happy birthday. Okay. And then the agent investigator just turns it off midway through the last phrase because that's what we do with pacing now. We don't finish the phrase. We like cut it off 3/4 of the way through, even though we don't need to listen to Longlegs sing happy fucking birthday at all. And then you hear the TV go, and because we're in the 90s, I know that TV just went, you know, that's what a TV does when you turn it off. That's the only time the noise goes, right? Right? Then the next shot, you see the TV on, and it's Longlegs' creepy ass face just staring at you. And I'm like, so you just don't give a shit. Like, you're adding like sound effects that people can like identify, but not actually like register to your moment. Like, I don't know. I was just like, no, dude. No. I was just not like, I don't know. Like I said, the movie started really strong and I was on board and just like chipped away, like cliche shit and shit I don't like in movies. Let me go.
I mean, I get the gripes. I do agree, though. I think it did. At least the first scene was like super strong. It's definitely one of the strongest scenes. I like the second scene. It just doesn't feel like it fits in this movie because it just was basically like, this girl, is she autistic? Is that why she can relate to these? Is that what it's trying to get across with the numbers, that she guessed the puzzle? I don't know that, and it never comes up again. So it's just kind of like, that's weird. Like, she guesses the puzzle with the triangle, but like she just looked at a picture and was like, aha, I get it. You know, that part I didn't like.
No,
but,
I mean, that's 100%. But like, to me, I guess like more ludicrous parts of the story for me, this is the protagonist is like the FBI's best investigator by far. Like, can sense and think things that no one can otherwise think. And she's blocked out 20 years of her life and is now an FBI investigator without knowing why she's an FBI investigator. I'm like, what? I don't know. It just did that. And the devil wiped her brain for 20 years.
That was a little sloppy. I will agree with that one. When she doesn't even remember, like with her mom, like all the way this whole time when she was 9 to now, but I don't know, how would she even know how to get to her mom's house or who her mom is if that's whole is wiped from.
Yeah.
I don't know. That part was
And then
completely sloppy, and it was just kind of like weird.
Even present day, where she's like getting these memories back and stuff, and then she kind of knows that like her mom's involved somehow with Longlegs. Like, they both, her and her boss, know this, and they're like, well, we better talk to her. They don't do any investigation. They don't do any questioning. They just let like life keep going on, and then you wonder like why this woman who you clearly know is connected to Longlegs is now going to come to your fucking house and like.
Yeah, the another part, I guess, I don't know if this is considered a nitpick, but that I just kind of rolled my eyes was when her chief kind of just walks off, so it gives a reason for the other girl to drive her there because someone's got to get their head blown off, so they don't want her to be the chief because he has
they
a
just
daughter
add
that's
that
having a
other
birthday.
character in, right?
Yeah,
and they set that one up.
Okay, this doesn't mean anything. Once they blow her head off, that doesn't mean anything because we don't know that character, you know?
Oh, yeah,
So that's
for
why it
sure.
was less effective. Like, it was a shocking moment, but it's just less effective because you don't know that character, you know? You're not.
Yeah, you could have had a partner. You could have had her be a partner or a different partner, and then they get killed,
right?
or something, you know. Yeah, and then the moment at the end where I was like, "What are you? Like, are you a real character that I just watched for an hour and a half?" Which she's an FBI, agent. She's gone through many levels of training to do this, and she gets to the house.
Yeah, here we go. This part was a bit very sloppy. I don't understand what. Yeah,
like things are going down with her mom. Clearly, like this family's fucking like possessed or whatever, and she lets her boss go in the kitchen and murder his wife. What the fuck? And then she pulls the gun on her mom after she pulls a curvy knife on her. It's like, dude, are you thinking right now?
That part, I was just kind of like, how do I justify that this is happening besides, oh, the devil made me do it type of situation? But like, she shot the devil out of her when she shot the dummy. So it's just kind of like, it's hard to justify why she's not stopping her boss from killing his wife. Like,
I'm gonna go get the cake knife. You're not gonna leave the kitchen. Like, what else do you need to hear here to like fucking stop the situation from happening? Or like
that whole last 10 minutes, I was just kind of like, well, this was better up until this moment for me. Like, I was almost at a 3.5 star for it. I ended on 4 just because I thought it was effective. most of the time. So I just gave it a little bit more leniency because honestly, this year is slim pickings for like entertaining movies for me.
No,
But this was just hit that vibe for me. So I'd sorry, I just kind of like I'm just gonna write off those last 10 minutes as
yeah,
like they
for
needed to
sure.
end
Hey,
it somehow.
what are you doing? Sorry.
they needed to end it somehow. But
Kicked out now. Sorry about that. My cat was trying to tear my shit down.
and I guess
Menace.
also like as writing this kind of stuff, I feel that pain of like how do I end this, without being out of left field, which he just decided to go out of left field and disregard any logic. But
Yeah, dude. But
I
honestly,
don't know.
like the dolls and the metal balls, to me, and maybe I was just in for a different movie. I thought they were a terrible inclusion to the story. Like it became a worse horror movie when they were introduced to me. Like I was picturing the boy, I was picturing Annabelle and shit, and I was like, why are we doing dolls? And this metal ball is like spewing the devil's language that makes you kill your family. I'm like, how is Longlegs like? Maybe I'm just thinking too much about it, but like,
Yeah.
it's just dumb. It's I don't
No.
know. It just
I understand that, Greg. You just kind of have to be on board with the idea of it all,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, dolls are creepy, so how else do you get something
But the
like that?
devil is creepy enough. Like,
I guess a way to fix that would be like, why, if she's just bringing a gift, staying there until they kill each other and then leaving with the gift, why didn't she just bring a box with the ball in it? And
right.
like,
Yeah.
that's the gift rather than a doll that
Yeah.
looks like their daughter. Because any normal person would be like, this is fucking weird. Is that real hair? I don't know. So yeah, I get that. I just was
Yeah.
like, again, on board with the whole idea because that's what he decided to do.
That's fair. I mean, I get it, but I just got a few more gripes here.
Okay.
And this is it's to do with this movie, but it's also just to do with like movies in general. And I think this might be kind of what tanked it like halfway through for me when I realized it was going to be this kind of movie, which is the amnesia storyline. And this is the bane of my existence as a movie lover. Like I hate this story and it needs to stop. Like we know she was involved with Longlegs from the very beginning. I don't need to spend an hour watching her try to understand what her past is when I know it. Fuck, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the amnesia was just like a weird, like I mentioned it earlier. Why did it block out 20 years? It could have just been like just that memory. I mean,
Yeah.
one night, that's all.
Right. Yeah,
It doesn't have to be 20
she's
years or
blocked
whatever.
out it her entire life.
Yeah, that was a bit of a head scratcher. It could have just been a one night thing where she just kind of forgot what happened for that one night.
Yeah.
But whatever.
And like I went into earlier, you don't need to. This is what people when I hear about like script writing and stuff like that, I'm told that this is like good script writing etiquette, which is like plant the seed for where the third act is going to be in relation to the time that we're spending in the movie, which is like with them, it's like with this movie, it's like on the 14th. That's the day that it's going to happen. And then you need to say it once. You need to say it once. Audience members are smarter than you think they are, especially when they've built their movie watching experience their whole life on all the things you've done before, which is this. Like, yeah. I don't need to hear it's 5 days away, it's 3 days away, it's tomorrow. That is making me like get anxiety about how much more of this movie I have to watch. Like, just say it and then show it at the end, dude. Like you did with the captain character or whatever. It's like, there's my family. You're going to meet my family. And I'm like, well, that's the family that's going to be at the end, like 100%. Right. But they don't really like tell you that. You get one little foreshadowing with Longlegs like on the TV, like above his head, looking like he's about to eat him or whatever. And then at the end, it's the family. And if you weren't looking for that fully, you'd be like, holy shit, no. But like, I don't need
the mention of a birthday party over and over again. It just kind of like takes out the whole stock value of it. Yeah.
Stop telling me how much more we have to do. Like, let me fucking experience it. And that's like also similarly with like the parts and the chapters. Like, there's 3 parts in this movie, and if you're not really knowing your pacing, don't do parts, don't do chapters, man. Because if when part 3 comes up or chapter 5 comes up or whatever the fuck, you've like basically exiled your audience members that don't like you. They know they're in for like 20 to 30 more minutes, and they groan and they yawn. I heard somebody yawn audibly at part 3. I was like, 100%, man, because like I
sleeping in my theater.
Holy shit, that's crazy! Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't do it. Don't do it, like, because you're shooting yourself in the foot for the experience. But that's just me.
Yeah. No, I get that. I thought when I saw part 1, I'm like, awesome. So we're gonna get to part 2, and there's gonna be about an hour of part 2, and then last minute we're gonna get part 3, and it's gonna be 10 minutes, which is pretty much what happens.
Yeah.
I love chapters in my movies, but Tarantino does it best with his chapters, if you ask
Because
me.
he understands his own pacing. That's what's so key to those chapters.
Yeah.
I just don't think people who like flock to like chapters really understand like why they're doing it sometimes. Because there was no need for a part 3, and they didn't even make any fucking sense with like his letters. I don't even remember the other parts, honestly, because they're not relevant.
Yeah.
I
push those out of my mind.
Right,
I don't even
exactly.
know what part 2 and 3 was.
Exactly.
But
this leads me to another point, though, of like intentionality of the movie, which is like, why is this movie in the 90s? There's no fucking point for this movie being in the 90s. It doesn't add anything, but you're showing me Bill Clinton and Ronald Reagan in this like vaguely political, like.
Was that supposed to mean something?
No, it was just Nixon. It was a Nixon? Oh, fuck.
I think it was Nixon. I could
Nixon or Reagan. I'm
pretty sure it was
one of them.
Nixon and Clinton, but it was like Bill Clinton was like God in this movie or something.
Yeah, he's shown like picture. 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, that was a head scratch. I was thinking about this picture of Bill Clinton, thinking, what is the significance of Bill Clinton? Is he the devil?
Dude, that's exactly what I was thinking, which was like, if you show this picture of Bill Clinton, it's like now I'm thinking about why I'm seeing a picture of Bill Clinton. And I'm like, why am I seeing a picture of Bill Clinton? I don't think it matters. Like, why am I in the 90s? I don't think it matters. That's kind of the things I was like coming to.
It's kind of like, so Bill Clinton was in the office of the FBI guy who ends up killing his family. And then we see Nixon in the family of the farmer who killed his family.
Yes.
But why would that family have a picture of Nixon?
Right.
One picture of Nixon next to the fucking crucifix? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
that was
like,
a wild decision making right there.
It's just weird, and there's no relevance, or unless you're like trying to be like maybe the devil's on both sides of the American political spectrum. Fine.
They're all the devil. Which, yes, you're probably fucking right.
Right, sure, man. Other than avoiding like cell phones and in your screenwriting, that's really that's like the major reason I found is like I don't want to deal with cell phones, but which I understand
because cell phones ruin a lot of like they can throw plot holes in your movie constantly.
It kills dramatic tension, and like you said, you should be able to solve a lot more, which I don't know, man. To me, like level up to the cell phones then. Like don't just like keep detracting stories. Right. Yeah, that was a great use of the cell phone, one they've never seen, but also because they tried it and no one tries it. So like
Richard Linklater again. Hats off, my friend.
Right. Okay.
Same with the chapters, actually, with Richard Linklater, especially in Everybody Wants Some. It's like day 1 or 3 days till this, 2 days till this, 1 day, you know?
That actually
like
works.
Those mean something, you know?
Yeah,
and they're not forgotten about. You're constantly thinking, like, this is the day. Like, we're almost to Sunday. I don't know.
Yeah, you want more time in that movie. You're like, damn, shit, it's only like 18 hours till class? Fuck, that sucks. Like, you know?
Maybe I was being too generous with this now that I'm thinking about it, because I do have, I do have gripes too with this movie.
Don't let me pull it down, dude. I know my tone can like really come across negatively.
I like the atmosphere of it. I like the vibe. I like the dark shit. I just wish the procedural detective stuff wasn't that important to the movie. That's the part I don't care about that stuff. I don't like those kind of movies are just fine for me. Like Silence of the Lambs is a good version of that, but like I like the dark stuff in Silence of the Lambs, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think that's kind of what tarnished my experience was I was wanting something and I got something else, you know, but I was
definitely wanting more horror, and the scariest part was when he says I got my long legs on and bends down and you see him, but it's just like because the sound is like screams at you for a second, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's a great like lead into my question. Why is this movie called Longlegs?
Because he says that, I think.
Because he says it one time in like an offhandish comment of like
And
he
he
put his
signs
long
his
legs on.
name. He signs his
Long
name as
legs.
Longlegs. Yeah.
I just felt like it was like an edgy and dark title that this person landed on, where it was like long legs. That's kind of scary without
That's
being
fucking
any
sick.
meaning behind it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Again, it's just it throws you off from the get jump. I mean, you think it's going to be about long legs, but really, ultimately, it's not. I mean, he's in it. He does some weird shit, but that's just like another Tuesday for Nick, you know?
Yeah.
Uh,
I think I just wanted more from that character then. Like, I understand the misdirect of him not being like the big bad, but like to have the big bad be the mom, that wasn't
yeah,
like an upgrade. But I don't know. I will say I really liked that the credits were reversed. I don't think I've ever
that was
seen that
cool.
before. That was pretty cool. I liked that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. To me, this is like another example of just the trailer being better than the movie, man. The trailer for this movie, sick. So
Oh, yeah.
good. So good. And then you watch the movie and it's like, oh, they cut a really good trailer out of that. Like,
What's another good movie or a good trailer with a movie that's just disappointing?
to me, Perfect Days was that. I watched that earlier this year. It was like the dude who's just cleaning toilets in Japan.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Movie's pretty good. Looking back, I'm like, that's actually a pretty good movie. But like the trailer is way better. So much better.
I think Monkey Man's a good example of that. The trailer was epic and kind of makes you think it's one thing, but
That's
it's really
fair.
more of another thing.
Yeah. That's a good trailer too. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
The
Well,
one that really nailed it was Love Lies Bleeding for me. Fucking awesome trailer.
really good
Great
trailer.
movie.
And really good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. That's how you know your shit. I mean, you
Yeah.
know what you got. You're not trying to like
See
trick people.
that's like the perfect vibe of like dark, creepy shit. That's kind of like just underlying evil mixed with just a pretty solid story with solid characters, you know? Put
Yeah.
all that together and you got magic, baby.
You got a fun movie. Yeah, you got something that's watchable. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, maybe just the expectations were set wrong, but I think this might be one of the bigger letdowns of the year for me, unfortunately. But I
Civil
give it
War
2
was that
stars.
for me.
Yeah, you didn't like it, huh?
No.
Damn.
Yeah. That yeah,
Surprising.
I'm very sad that I didn't like it. Like when I got done with it, I felt generous giving it the 2 stars, but there was enough that I liked about it. Jesse Plemons being like the main thing that I was like, fuck yeah, this guy rules, but he always rules. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. We can get it in when we do the end of the year because
Sure.
it'll be in my bottom. But yeah, I don't know.
Damn. It'll be in my
It was
top,
just,
so we'll have interesting
yeah,
talks then.
it's good dynamic there.
Yeah, that's where you want to be. All right. Well, good talk. Maybe it was just you got any other comments or?
Um, I thought there was something else I watched this week that I was going to bring up. Maybe it was just Everybody Wants Some, just because I just really liked that movie. It was a good one.
That's
Solid
fun.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk more Linklater next week. I'm pretty excited about Before Sunrise. I've
Yeah.
heard a lot of good stuff, and hopefully
I
the
hope I don't get
expectations are
let
set.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. We'll see.
I'm a little
But
nervous about it, but
me too. But I trust my boy Linklater. Let's do this.
yeah, he seems to get people, so we'll see how he
Right.
does with like an actual intimate relationship, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm curious.
we'll see.
But all right. Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.